That was so good, I'm going to take a drink. Let's hear it for the Christ Universal Temple Ensemble. Now, if you just heard what I just heard, I know you can do better than that. If you were blessed the way that I was blessed, I know you can do better than that. I know you can. I know you can. I love the music that the music ministry shares with us. When I can't even think of what I said, I can hear the words to the songs, I can feel the melodies, and it blesses me all over again. The Christ Universal Temple Ensemble. I just want to take a quick minute and recognize everybody who was just a part of what was shared with us. Mr. Connell Fryer on the organ. Jarrell Johnson on the drums. Ron Hall on bass guitar. Sid Brown on guitar. Miss Julie Woods on saxophone. Larry Bowens on trumpet. Steve Berry on trombone. Beautifully conducted by Mr. Martin Woods. And directed by Mr. Monte Pilon. The Christ Universal Temple Ensemble, temple musicians. For the past 3 weeks, we have been talking about the 4 stages of healing. And music actually has some healing capacity within it. And so, again, not just to make light, but if at some point in time you find yourself unable to remember that go-to affirmation, or the appearance is such that a denial just does not seem to be getting the job done, let the melodies of the Temple Ensemble remind you of the truth. Christ in you, your hope of glory. Over the past 3 weeks, we talked about healing, and we talked about forgiveness as an aspect of healing. The following week, we talked about understanding our spiritual origin and the nature of wholeness as it relates to us as spiritual beings. On last week, we talked about the importance of prayer as a facilitator to building the healing consciousness. Today, we're going to talk about meditation. But as we begin to move into this lesson, I'm a little concerned because in contemporary Western culture, there is this reinforced notion to a natural reluctance to slow down, be still, quiet our minds and bodies, even if only for a little while. Western culture, the culture that we're in, seems to espouse that we be uncomfortable with the quietness of our own selves. And as a result, we don't generally place a great deal of emphasis or importance on the benefits derived from spiritual practices. Instead, more and more consistently, we find that our approach to being and behavior is one of action. We are an action-oriented people. And watch this. One activity is hardly enough. We're so into action that we become multitaskers. If you're a multitasker, raise your hand. I am an admitted multitasker. If you're a multitasker, doing one thing well ain't enough. You got to do 50 things well at one time. The more you can do, the perception seems to be, the better you are. We believe that successful people are dynamic individuals who work hard, enjoy life to the fullest, and can withstand the pressure and tension of a fast-paced life. To many people, inner tranquility suggests a lack of drive, a dulling of the personality, and in general inability to compete in a crowded and competitive market. But sometimes you have to go backward before you can go forward. And the root of meditative practices go back to 1500 BCE. In the West, by 20 BCE, Philo of Alexandria, who is also known as Philo-Judaeus, who is actually one of the first children of Israel, who was the writer and originator of metaphysical interpretation. He was a father of the early church, but he was also the originator of metaphysical interpretation. I'm wanting you to see that your practices are not dissimilar. It's just a matter sometimes of whoever wins the war gets to tell the story. If you're not careful, you will get this narrative that says to you that because you black, you are somehow less than or deficient. It just depends on who's telling the story. So Philo-Judaeus, or Philo of Alexandria, began to establish meditative practices and wrote about spiritual exercises. Meditation is a practice that goes back for some time. And if we understand ourselves as spiritual beings, then we can tap into the importance of meditation and open ourselves up to the divine flow. Does that make sense? So let's go ahead and go. Let's take our first point from the bulletin together. It says that meditation is a continuous and contemplative thought, while realizing the reality of the absolute. It is a steady effort of the mind to know God and humanity's spiritual approach to God. As spiritual beings, say spiritual beings. As spiritual beings, it is important that we have spiritual practices. Now watch this. None of us would be so naive as to assume that we could become proficient and successful at a thing without practicing it. There is no quantum leap into greatness. If you intend to become proficient at a thing, you have to practice it. And I hear Allen Iverson saying, we're only talking about practice. But if you don't practice, you can't expect to become proficient. And if you are a spiritual being and you are neglecting your spiritual practices, it's no wonder why your humanity is making you believe something about yourself. As a spiritual being, you and I, we must commit ourselves to working in those ways that help us to develop as spiritual beings. Are you still with me? And so meditation is a continuous, say continuous. See, if it is continuous, then we don't only do it when we get to the meditators meeting. Yeah, I'm gonna stop right there. If it is continuous, then it is the kind of thing that we must be prepared to take with us and apply in our everyday lives. And if we're not aware of the benefits of the practice, then as a result, we can't receive the blessings of the practice. I've once heard it said that ignorance of the law is no excuse. And so meditation is a continuous and contemplative thought that gives us the ability to realize the absolute. Now, in my book, in my bulletin, the absolute is capitalized, and that denotes what for us? That we're talking about God. It is a steady effort of the mind to know God and our spiritual approach to God. So one of the things that meditation does is it gives us the ability to distinguish and separate out and sort out the many voices that speak to us. I don't know about you, but sometimes something is talking to me, and that something that's talking to me is not always the clear, consistent, communicative voice of God. Sometimes the thing that's talking to me is the very thing that I'm trying to get away from. Sometimes the voice that continues to say to me what I can or cannot do is the voice that can be silenced whenever I enter into my meditative practices. When I understand and consistently use and apply the spiritual practice, I can quiet some of those voices. I know somebody told you about what you can't be. I know somebody shared with you their insight about what you would never be able to do. I know that the thing seems to be stacked against you, but when you get into your meditative space and place, you can avail yourself to a different reality. When you meditate, what you might find is the thing you've been chasing you don't have any business going after anyway. When you meditate, what you might find out is the person you trying to get to love you is the person that ain't supposed to be trying to love you. If it is the place where you come to know God, then the omniscience of God is more than ready to enlighten you about what it is you ought to be doing. But meditation is a spiritual practice that must be consistently engaged in. We cannot hope that we will get it. You have to get into it in order to get it. And so meditation gives us the ability to sort out the many voices and find the still small voice. If you're anything like me, God has never screamed into my life, "Stop, you fool." Just like the prophet, God oftentimes waits until you get to the silence. Because in quietness and confidence shall be your strength. God is not going to compete with your external stimuli. There are too many other people who are available to the God mind for God to spend any time while you're at the disco trying to figure out how to get it right. And so meditation, watch this, meditation is your intention to connect to the God mind. How does God know that you're serious? How is God really supposed to believe that you believe what you say you believe? You got any classes, you got any idea how many classes I've taken God? You got any idea how many workshops I've been to? I got so many books and so many tapes, and my life is still hanging by a thread. When's the last time you meditated? If you won't give yourself the opportunity to quiet the external voices and hear what thus saith the Lord, you have to make sure that you establish the meeting time between you and God. Meditation is an important spiritual practice. Are you still with me? Meditation opens us up to the inspiration and intuition of the Holy Spirit. Meditation gives us the ability to access the breath of spirit. Oftentimes when you meditate, one of the exercises that you're encouraged to do is breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe before you go off. Just breathe. Before you curse them out, just breathe. Before you give them a piece of the mind you barely got left, just breathe. Give yourself the benefit of the breath that will immediately recalibrate an omnipresent and omniscient temple. Give yourself the benefit of a breath in that can't help but slow you down and give you a moment to pause before you get into something you ought not be in just yet. Just breathe. What was that? Somebody had a song about breathe. I ain't gonna sing it. It's a rap song. I don't think I can sing those lyrics. I heard about it. I heard about the rap song that I heard about it. Somebody told me about the Breathe rap song. I wasn't listening to it. I just heard about it. Somebody was playing Pandora and I just heard about it. I didn't read it. I wasn't at the concert. I wasn't at the concert. They curse a lot at those concerts. I'm too holy. No. Meditation gives us access to the inspiration and intuition of the Holy Spirit. Remember that intuition is your natural knowing capacity. If meditation is the gateway to your intuition, and if in your intuition you access your natural knowing capacity, if through your intuition you access omniscience, then the answer to your question is not far away from you, but the answer to your question might be simply in your ability to steal your mind and steal your emotions so that you can receive the intuition of the Holy Spirit. But if you don't avail yourself to it, you can wander in the wilderness for years looking for what is right within your soul. Meditation is the inspiration and intuition of the Holy Spirit. Meditation is a practice of self-love. It's a way to practice self-love. Meditation is a way to practice self-love. Meditation is a way to practice self-love. Meditation is a way to practice self-love. I know you say you love yourself, but what kind of things do you do in support of the love that you say you have for yourself? If you were in a relationship with someone, you would do certain things that indicate to both them and you that you love them. Meditation gives you the insight to the truth that you love yourself because you understand yourself. But if you don't understand yourself, then it could be a little difficult to love yourself. You might think that you are somebody else. Uh-oh. It's something else to not really know who you are. I'm going to keep going. We say that love is the great harmonizing and attracting principle. Is that right? Yeah. But through meditation, love is the power by which bodily functions begin to work harmoniously. In very much the same way that God created a universe that works in harmony, God also created a body temple that works in harmony. Now, when we find ourselves working out of alignment with that which is true about ourselves, we can find ourselves suffering. But the truth is not dependent upon what's showing up. And when we love ourselves and we practice our meditation, what we begin to do is align our bodies and our minds back with the harmonizing presence of the Holy Spirit. Are you still with me? Love is the power that attracts out from within us those qualities that help ensure the fullest expression of life, wholeness, and health. If you love yourself, you put yourself in the best position and in the best situation and in the best environment to experience the love that is already yours to experience. Let's take the second point. The purpose of meditation is to expand the consciousness Christward, to bring into realization divine truth, to be transformed in spirit, soul, and body by the renewing of the mind. That's good. So Louise Hay said that she found that problems come from self-rejection and self-hatred to one degree or another. Louise Hay said that she believes that the problems that we experience comes from our self-rejection or our self-hatred in one dimension or one degree or another. Now I know you can be thinking, I don't hate myself, I love myself, I'm certain of it, but I just would offer to you that since love is one of the aspects that's often found in our subconscious nature, you can think you love yourself, but you could actually also be sabotaging yourself in some ways. Not you, maybe the person who lives on your block. I don't want to assume things about you. You can absolutely love yourself and do things that don't make sense for someone who says they love themselves. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the person who lives down the street from you. Breathe. Because if the purpose of meditation is to expand consciousness Christward and for us to be transformed in spirit, soul, and body by the renewing of our minds, then meditation must have an effect that gives us the ability to be transformed. But sometimes, say sometimes, sometimes you come with a gang full of problems. Now watch this. I'm reminded of Jesus as he is going about his business, and Jesus runs into this guy who seems to have a number of problems. Jesus says to the young man, well, what is your name? And the young man says that we are legion because our problems are many. Now, I don't know about you, but something must really be going on when you have to name your problems after a whole colony. When you have so many issues, so many difficulties, so many challenges, so many stressors, so many things that get you off your square, so many relationships that are not working, so many pocketbooks that still appear to be broke, just a legion and litany of issues, especially when you are able to access a truth that says God is able and available to you right here and right now. There's a problem when legion shows up and it's a bunch of them. But here is the thing about meditation. Meditation will help you get legion out of your life. Meditation will help you reconcile some of those issues. Meditation will help you resolve some of those problems. Your meditative practices will help you release those things that no longer serve you. But here is the challenge. Sometimes we're either too satisfied with wandering in our past or worrying about our future. And if you get caught in either of those, you may not give yourself access to the ability of the presence and power of God that's right here, right now. See, God is not limited to what he did for you yesterday. The power of God did not take a break after your last breakthrough. The truth about God is that God is just as able and available right here and right now as God was for you 2 days ago or 20 years ago. But if you don't understand how to get yourself in alignment with the flow, you can miss your blessing. If you are worrying about the future, then your meditative practices is a practice of worry. You've heard me say it before. If you can worry, you can meditate, because it's the same energy and the same effort. The only thing that's different is the focus and the energy around that which you are focused on. So, for those of us who are worriers, know that your meditative practice is focused on the issue, the challenge, the concern, whatever it is you are worried about. But I think there is another opportunity for you. Why y'all get so quiet on me? Is that your deal? It's okay. Don't raise your hand. You don't have to say nothing. If it's your deal, it's okay. We got something for you. We've got something for you. Because remember that every problem has a spiritual solution. This is Jesus's interaction with Legion. Every problem has a spiritual solution. It does not matter how many problems there are. Every problem has a spiritual solution. Right? So wherever we are, whatever we're doing, in whatever position our body happens to be, the energy of mindfulness, concentration, and insight can be accessed right in that moment. The energy of mindfulness, concentration, and insight can be accessed right in the moment. So you can meditate irrespective of what your body is doing. You can meditate right at your computer terminal. You can meditate while you're doing the dishes. Some of the most spiritually enlightening moments for me is when I was cutting my grass. All kind of insights would come to me because it was a meditative practice. Now, I was not sitting in any particular position. As a matter of fact, I was just trying to make sure that the lines lined up as I was cutting my grass. But because I was open to the flow, God would press into my experience. When we're talking about mindfulness, as it relates to meditation, understand that you have to be aware of what's happening in the present moment in your body, in your thinking, in your emotions, and in your environment. Mindfulness through meditation gives you the ability to be aware. That's a good word. See, because we say consciousness is the sum total of that which you are aware of. And if there are things going on in your body or in your thinking or in your emotions or in your environment that you're pretending, I really want to say pretending, I kind of want to say pretending, I really do just want to say pretending to not be aware of, because oftentimes you can be blind, but sometimes it's not that we're blind, it's just that we're ignoring. Sometimes we're blind, but oftentimes we're ignoring. When you meet that special someone and they show you that special something, and you say to yourself, I can fix that. That ain't no problem right there. That's all that's wrong with her. I can fix that. And then it shows up a little more. You vibing with me? Because the only one that you can fix is yourself. And so meditation gives you the ability to get to work on yourself. But you want to be aware of what's happening in your body. Now, your body has its own omniscience. Listen, your body is intelligent and you can try to push your body to the limit, but I'm here to tell you that you didn't create your body. The omniscience of God created your body. And just like you don't have to tell yourself to breathe, you don't have to tell yourself to be healed. But what you must do is find yourself in accord with the innate omniscience that's preparing to work through you. So just like you don't have to tell yourself to be healed, you don't have to tell yourself to breathe, but you can choose to stop breathing. And if you stop breathing, stuff starts to get uncomfortable. It's the same way with allowing the healing presence to flow. When you stop letting it flow or when you interrupt the flow, stuff starts to get uncomfortable. Check out your environment. Check out what's in your space. Look at who and what you have put around you that may or may not be facilitating your healing. Check out what it is you're talking about. Are the words of your mouth and the meditations of your heart in support of your healing? I'm not saying that they have to be. I'm just asking you to check it out. Because if you intend to be better, you have to practice the things that help you get better. Are you still with me? Let's keep going. Concentration. When we're talking about our meditative practice, we want to apply mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us be aware of what's happening in our body, what's happening in our thinking, what's happening in our emotions, what's happening in our environment. Concentration gives us the ability to have a one-pointed attention. What is the thing that you intend to experience right now? What is the breakthrough that you intend to have right now? What is the blessing that you know is available to you right now? Put your mind, put your focus, put your attention on that thing and that thing alone. Take that into your meditative practices and begin to just think on that thing. So if it is healing for your body, let your mind explore through your concentration what it means for you to be healed. What does it look like when you are healed? How do you move when you are healed? How do you laugh when you are healed? How do you feel when you are healed? Where do you play at when you are healed? Don't focus on the problem, focus on how it feels when you're healed. We already know what the issue is, but the issue is not going to bless you like the healing will. But if you don't know what it feels like, how you going to know when you got it? If you have not put your mind to it to attract it to you, I really just got to stop right here and just let you know about how powerful you are. Let me just take just a couple minutes to remind you about how powerful you are. You are so powerful that you can attract out of substance and bring into you the experience that you desire. I know that they are saying certain things about you, and I'm telling you that none of it is true because you are made in the image and after the likeness of God. I know they're telling you you're not going to be able to do it, and I'm telling you to tell them that they're a lie. Yes, it's in church, and lie can be a curse word, but listen, when you understand how to put your attention on a thing, that thing that you put your attention on starts to work its way back to you. If your relationship is broken and you intend for that relationship to be healed, put your attention on the center of love. Center that relationship in love. See the loving interaction. See the loving communication. See the loving words. See the loving times out. Whatever it is you desire. If it's your body temple, put your body in the light and stop talking about what's wrong. What's the matter with you? You do realize that your body responds to the words you say. And I believe my mama said, if you ain't got nothing good to say, You can't talk about the temple of the living God as though it were nothing. Do you know what it is you're working with? Maybe that's the problem. You don't know what you're working with. You have the master's tool, but you've got to use your mind to recreate your body. Stop thinking it's the other way around. You don't use your body to shape your mind. You are a metaphysical Christian. That means you're looking beyond what's showing up. Talk to me. Insight says that meditation gives us the ability to see into the energies of the soul. I just got to spend a minute right here. Insight gives us the ability to see into the energies of the soul. Insight gives us the ability to see into the energies of the soul. What are you saying, Reverend? I'm glad you asked. What I'm saying is sometimes we're addicted. Sometimes we're addicted to pain. Sometimes we're addicted to anger. Sometimes we're addicted to fear. Sometimes we're addicted to being the victim. Sometimes we're addicted to being hurt. Sometimes we're addicted to all kinds of things. The thing that you're addicted to doesn't have to be nicotine. It can be an emotional addictor, and these addictions are holes in the soul. Watch this. And when we have these holes in the soul, we maintain these holes in the soul because we understand at a very deep level that if my hole is in my soul, then I don't have to be whole in my soul. What am I saying to you? I'm saying to you that when you have a hole in your soul, it allows the life force to leak out. And you know, and I know at a very deep level, when the life force leaks out, it eases us from the responsibility to be who we are and whose we are. Sometimes we hold on to our addictions because we see that we really do got it going on, but it starts to scare us when you start to see yourself growing and expanding and doing better, and somebody told you were always supposed to be the tail and not the head. You start to get just a little scared. Sometimes when you start to grow and expand and the spirit starts to move up in you, you start to push it back down. No, I don't want them to see it. If they see that about me, they're going to think I'm strange. Who in the heck cares what they think about you? When we start to grow in the spirit, when our understanding starts to increase, the people that you were with, you might not be able to be with. They were good for today, but tomorrow they might not be able to roll with you. I'm just trying to tell you that you should not hold on to your addictions just because they're comfortable to you. I'm trying to tell you that you don't have to be in pain just because you're familiar with pain. I'm trying to say to you that you don't have to remain stressed just because that's what it seems like it's supposed to be based upon where you are. This is ridiculous. We got to start to let this nonsense go so that we can be what God created us to be. If you intend to be healed, healing has to be your intention. Meditation is a process by which we enter the silence. You've got to schedule your practice. You know why they sound the way they sound? They practice. They don't show up on Sunday morning and just ad lib. They practice. You know why our musicians, professionals as great as they are, you know why they are able to deliver to us the way they deliver to us? Because they practice. You know why the teachers in JCI are as good as they are? Because they practice. You know why your ministerial staff is as bad as it is? Because they practice. You cannot be great without practicing, and it is a process, but meditation is the process by which we enter into the silence. You got to schedule your practice. Learn how to relax your body and your mind. You can let go just a little bit. Learn to let go just a little bit. When you enter into the silence, and now if you haven't done this before, it's going to feel weird. You quiet your mind, turn the TV off, turn the radio off, and it's just silence. It's going to feel uncomfortable. what in the world did they get me into? But it's all right. Just keep going. Be willing to go just a little bit deeper. Remember that periods of solitude are essential to the continued vitality and high creativity of the self-actualizing person. Our scripture from the bulletin says, "Be still and know that I am God." If through your meditative practices, you will take time to be still, close the door. Don't let the challenges of the world keep your focus. There is a spiritual solution to every problem. Get into your meditative practice. Get into your prayer practice. Get into understanding yourself as a spiritual being. Forgive yourself and forgive everybody else. And then let God be God in your life, world, and affairs. Talk about those things that encourage your healing. Think about those things that bring life energy into you. Those things that try to keep you held down and bound, those addictions, let them go. You done with them. Admit to yourself, I'm done. It was good for a time and now I'm on to the next. If you will work your spiritual practices, you will find that God has already done all there is to do. God bless you.